Hey guys, Desolator Magic here, and oh boy, WOTC must have just absolutely lost it when Trump won because they got out the ban hammer and just started swinging. I don't know if they even know what they were hitting. I mean, I'm banned, you're banned, your mom's banned. That's pretty standard. Speaking of standard, they didn't ban anything in it. Shocker. If you celebrate Thanksgiving while being white without feeling bad about yourself, banned. How dare you? My family got here in like 1880, so I think I'm actually just restricted. Thanksgiving cannot have more than one copy of me, I guess, which doesn't really affect my life in any way, but neither do these Alchemy bans, because I don't play that format. I'll be honest with you, I was eyeing it up a little bit, because I'm like, well, Alchemy rotated and Standard didn't, and now it's a complete train wreck? Let's take a second look. And then I realized that they injected a bunch of broken cards into it that don't exist in Standard, and now I'm not that interested. I mean, Standard with a 2-year period, I'm kind of into that. And them super like policing cards quicker and changing them and updating them, that sounded like the perfect solution to Arena. And then they just dropped the ball by being like, oh, well, here's an Alchemy Masters or whatever ridiculous Alchemy Horizon. I don't know what it was, but like, here's 25 cards, all super powerful, all must-haves, and you got to redeem wild cards on them. And remember, they seem to have just like forgotten for 6 months or something that they were supposed to be policing Alchemy, because this is the first I've heard of any kind of rebalance or anything, unless I just wasn't paying attention. Now, keep in mind that this is Alchemy. They very rarely ban something outright, so these are actually rebalances, but the card in its original form is gone, so to me, it's a ban, and a lot of people running these cards are like, well, my deck's unplayable now, although they went pretty subtle with this one. So first up, Leyline of Resonance. We have been assured that they were going to rebalance this card. But the debate was, what are they going to do? Are they going to add a cost? Are they going to add a phrase that makes it basically unplayable? Like, you can only change so much. I mean, would anybody even take them seriously if they just remove the part that says you can start with it in play if it's in your opening hand and then still call it a leyline? Here is the new phrasing. If this card is in your opening hand, you may begin the game with it on the battlefield. Whenever you cast an instant or sorcery spell that targets only a single creature you control, you may pay 1. If you do copy that spell, you may choose new targets for the copy. That may not seem like much. I mean, 1 versus free, but in a win on turn 2 deck, you're slowing it down quite a bit. It's still incredibly annoying, but remember, there's 1/3 less cards in the Alchemy pool, give or take. I mean, it depends like what time of year it is and stuff, but so that kind of powers everything down because you have less card support for everything. So their explanation for this is aggressive red decks based around cheap combat tricks were already a concern before Duskborn House of Horror. So then you printed this? Wow, we didn't need to know that, but I'm glad I did because, my gosh, we have already taken action against this card in Best of 1 Standard and suspended it in Alchemy. Still legal in paper at FNM. My God. Leading into this rebalance, so ideally the rebalanced Leyline of Resonance will remain an exciting open-ended card, but will lose much of its explosive utility for aggro. And for those of you who say aggro, how are things in England? I'm actually curious. So then we've got Heartfire Hero. Now he's in very aggressive decks. Should I call it aggro? Because everybody says aggressive. So, red aggro has performed so well that it merits further action. Heartfire Hero is the most powerful 1-drop creature in Standard, yeah, by far. This little mouse easily attacks for 3+ damage, starting on turn 2, making it a must-answer card from the very beginning of the game. And everybody hates those. And it can end games out of nowhere thanks to a card like Callous Sellsword. Yes, it does. Our goal is not to render Heartfire Hero unplayable, well, your goal should have been never printed in the first place, but to reduce its fastest starts and make it more dependent on triggering multiple times to perform well, rather than it being a strong 1-drop after a single Valiant trigger. So all they did was change it from a 1/1 to a 0/1. I don't think that goes far enough. Not when the leyline is still legal. So they're not making these changes because they think that mathematically this will fix the situation. They're making the changes to show off the fact that, ooh, look at us in Alchemy. Instead of just banning or unbanning like we have to do in paper, we can tweak something by the tiniest little bit. And look how close we got. Look how close we got with our card design. Nah, dude, people still hate this card and this didn't do anything even close. Next up, we got Grenzo Crooked Jailer from Alchemy 24. What's that? Some absolute BS they made up that you have to buy, and now that you bought it with way too many wild cards, well, whoopsie. Let me just read this one. While Heist has not been an overperforming deck in Alchemy, Grenzo has become one of the more powerful commanders in Brawl. Yeah, Brawl contains Alchemy, doesn't it? No wonder I don't play it. So they're saying that his massive mana discount overly punishes opponents for playing with fun, expensive spells and undermines the core tension of Heist, where you need to wait a turn to cast a stolen, expensive spell. So we are adjusting Grenzo's power level to make a dent in its Brawl and Alchemy play patterns, pretending like anybody plays this outside of Brawl, while aiming to preserve the majority of its power. So it's a 6-cost 6/4, and they changed it to each turn you may pay 0 rather than pay the mana cost for a spell you cast that you don't own. Well, that was the old version. Now it's once each turn you may pay 0 rather than pay the mana cost for a spell you cast that you don't own with mana value 3 or less. Now the rest of the card is whenever he enters the battlefield and at the beginning of your upkeep, heist target opponent's library. So you're always going to have something. Limiting it to 3 makes him unplayable. That was like the whole point. So yeah, once you finally get him out for 6, you probably should launch like an 8-cost spell on him. I don't think that was particularly overpowered. I can't imagine this thing was just dominating games. I don't know what's up. So Nadu, Winged Wisdom, he was going to be in here. All right, so this one says they changed it from creatures you control have whenever this creature becomes the target of a spell or ability, reveal the top card of your library. If it's a land card, put it onto the battlefield. Otherwise, put it in your hand. This ability triggers only twice each turn. 2, whenever a creature you control becomes the target of a spell or ability, reveal the top card of your library. If it's a land, put it onto the battlefield. Otherwise, put it in your hand. This ability only triggers twice each turn. So if you're caught up on the wording there, they changed it so that all of your creatures cumulatively can only trigger twice each turn. That keeps them from going near infinite and taking forever. So I don't think I need to really explain what they wrote. It's pretty darn obvious. So they do say that we hope that these 4 adjustments will help create a healthier Alchemy metagame and gently improve the Brawl experience. In addition to these reductions in power, we are increasing the power level of several cards from last year's Alchemy set to provide players new options and more powerful tools. I don't think anybody really cares about these. We really care about taking action against outliers, but they did upgrade Stalwart Speartail, Hymn of the Ages, that's surprising, Ribald Shanty, Tome of Gadwick, Nashi Illusion Gadgeteer, Talion's Throne Guard, Fountainport Charmer, and that is it. So taking action against that many cards in a format that already rotated early, it just goes to show the power level of the crap they've been printing in the last 2 years. What more is there to say? So thanks for watching, everybody, and I'll see you guys next time.